Hello everyone, I am back, Vega 310 on YouTube to talk some wrestling news. Sorry if my voice is a little low, my voice is kind of hoarse, I just went to a show, and I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Before I talk about the show, which I really want to be the focus of this video, I will mention the Royal Rumble, I will mention some random Dragon Gate USA show reviews from 2013 because I'm an outdated motherfucker, but I'll mention that stuff. Just as far as an update, I don't like to make excuses as to why I don't make videos consistently anymore. I'm just really, it's a cliche, but I'm just really busy. But recognize that I'm never going to stop. There may be a month to 2 month period where you don't hear from me, but I'm eventually going to come back. There's always going to be something that I'm going to have to talk about. So just, hell, I'm watching all these old shows partly so I can talk about them on here. And because I'm naturally OCD and I need to see, I'm such a completionist that I need to see everything from all the major indies ever. But I'm always going to be back on here. So if I'm ever gone for a little bit, don't sweat it. I'm coming back. My channel. Obviously my popularity has dwindled quite a bit since my peak a few years ago. Part of that is just because of lack of activity on here. Part of that is due to YouTube itself. Part of that's due to YouTube Take. I'm not unaware of any of these three things. I'm going to try to build my channel back to what it once was. It's just going to take time. It's going to take more effort from me. I recognize that. But I am going to try. So to all those listening out here, I'm going to try to recreate what I once had. It's going to take time, but I'm going to get to that. When Chikara comes back, I think Chikara going down really hurt my channel directive because I directed so much of my time on here talking about Chikara. So when they were done, I was just kind of directionless for a while. But now that they're coming back, I'll be able to get on with them for quite a bit. But let's talk shows. Today I went to Beyond Wrestling. Beyond Wrestling is a promotion in the Northeast. Although they've done shows in the Midwest and some shows in the South from what I'm told. Beyond Wrestling, I don't know if I can really explain it. It's really a promotion where a lot of up-and-coming, no-name guys wrestle and a lot of big stars wrestle. And it's kind of a promotion to make them both kind of mix in one environment. They bring guys in from all the major indies. They have no titles. They have a ranking system, I believe, sort of similar to the Evolve record system. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it's you win X amount of matches. Whoever wins the most matches or whoever wins them a certain way gets a higher ranking. The highest ranked wrestler on Beyond right now is Drew Gulak. So that's how they work. But mainly, yeah, they have a lot of variety. That's kind of their thing. They bring in championship matches from other promotions. They bring in tons of other guys from other promotions. It's kind of a nice mix of the Northeast Indies. I went to the show today in Providence, Rhode Island. For those who do not know, I go to school in Providence, Rhode Island, so it's just really easy for me to go to. They're going to be running in Providence, Rhode Island once a month, apparently. So if they keep doing this every month, I'm going to try to go to every show I can because this show I went to today was fucking great. I absolutely loved Beyond Wrestling today. Before I talk about the actual show and before I talk about the other shows I'm going to talk about, let me just say that Beyond Wrestling, the reason I loved it so much is because it had everything I love about professional wrestling, and that it had good matches. It had really good matches. It had great characters that really connected with the crowd, characters that as soon as I saw them enter, even though for some of them I've never ever heard of them before, much less actually seen them, that as soon as they got into the ring, I could automatically tell I like these guys, I want these guys to do well in this match. And that's the true power of a great character. When all you have to do is be in the character's presence to recognize that the character connects with you before you hear him speak, before you see them work, just being in the presence, and you can tell whether or not you like the character or not. And Beyond has a lot of characters like that, which is why I'm a big fan, obviously, but Chikara, the reason I love Chikara is because with Chikara, I really felt an emotional connection to a lot of these characters, and I didn't really feel that with many other promotions in wrestling, and I think it's so important to feel that connection. The reason that everyone loves Daniel Bryan, and everyone wants to see Daniel Bryan do well, yes, he's a great wrestler, but I think even more than that, because there's tons of great wrestlers all over the world that don't foster that type of reaction that Daniel Bryan does. I think people just are so emotionally connected to his character that they want to see him do well, regardless if he was the best in the world or if he was just a good wrestler. Like I always bring up the Dolph Ziggler example. Dolph Ziggler, I recognize as a very good wrestler. I personally still can't get into him. I'm leaning towards the other direction as the days go on. I'm growing on him more and more. But my point is, you need to connect. And I wasn't watching wrestling at the time, but a bunch of people have always told me that in 1996 when Sid Vicious was champion, they were really big fans of his. And because they just connected, his character was so executed so perfectly. It's part of the reason people love Mark Henry. Mark Henry just perfectly portrays exactly what he's supposed to be. And for a lot of these guys in the Beyond show, I really connected with their characters. Like this Beyond show was just like a fun experience of a variety of wrestling. I think any fan of wrestling could watch Beyond, at least the show I saw today, and really find something that they liked. It had a little bit of everything. And that's what made the show fun. That's what made the show just a fantastic experience to see live. The show was super long. The show was like 5 hours, I think, with intermission. Part of that was because their ring broke, and they had to get a new ring because the old ring broke. And so there was a lot of stalling. The show was supposed to start at 4. It didn't start till like 5:30. So there was just tons of delays all over the place. But at the end of the day, there were 10 matches. Like, it's kind of hard to make that show not seem long. But even though it was long, I didn't care. Like, I didn't want it to end at the end. Towards the end, I was like, no, please, like, give me another match. I'm so entertained by this fantasy world I'm seeing right now. And I think that's really a great sign of just how strong a promotion is. But I'll get to Beyond in a little bit. Let me first talk about the Rumble. I did not like the Royal Rumble as much as most people did. I thought the show was mediocre. Okay, I guess I would say. A lot of people really, really love this show, and it's not that I'm not sure why, but I just never really got why. I mean, I love Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt just as much as anyone did. That's my favorite match of 2014 so far. But that was great. But, like, just because that was great, does that mean the rest of the show could do no wrong and it would automatically get a good rating? I don't think it really works like that. Brock Lesnar versus The Big Show. Everyone's really put this match over. And at the start, I really liked it. At the start, I thought this was great booking, how Brock could just take him down, beat him up, and not have an extended match. But then they had an extended match. The match went 3 minutes, but the post-match was like 9 minutes. And it just went way too long, and it was good booking, and it was interesting, and it was something different. And whenever WWE does something different, that's generally good. But it just went too long, in my opinion. Towards the end of it, I kind of got bored, and I was just like, all right, I get it. He's beating the shit out of Big Show. Can we move on? Why does he have to beat him with 20 chair shots instead of 10? That was just kind of my thing. Orton and Cena, I thought the match was okay. I've seen this ratings for this all over the place because the crowd completely buried it. I've seen some people give it a terrible rating, and I've seen some people give it a really good one. I know wrestlers like common indie wrestlers and all this and that, they all really, really liked this match. I remember they were all tweeting after the match how good the match was and how the crowd kind of ruined it. I fall somewhere in the middle. I thought the match was solid. The action I was watching in the ring, like the moves they were doing and all this and that, I was on balance entertained. But because the crowd was so just like against it, I don't know. I felt like I might as well have watched the match in a vacuum with no sound. And I don't think that makes pro wrestling better. I think fans reacting in a positive light to each spot, to each false finish, to each turn of events, that's what really makes matches better than what they actually are. And because the crowd didn't help this match, I'm not like penalizing the match because the crowd didn't give it a chance, but I'm just saying the match I don't think could have been as good as it could have because the crowd didn't follow along with the match like how a good match has a crowd following along. This match did not have the crowd following along, so it just really tempered the match. So I've heard some people say, oh, this would have been like a 3.25 star match in a different crowd, in a different building. I don't know. Like, they would have had the fans would have had to care about every spot these guys did. And the fans just don't care about Orton and Cena anymore. I mean, they just don't want to see this match. And who can blame them? And then we had the Rumble match. Okay. This was okay. I had fun. I've heard many people say, oh, the IWC is only shitting on it because Daniel Bryan wasn't in the match. That's not true. It's not just that Daniel Bryan was in the match. The match towards the end wasn't good. Batista looked terrible in the match. He got tired very quickly. He couldn't move around much. It was very clear that he was not as mobile as he has been in the past in this company. And it just kind of dragged the match down. His whole thing with Roman Reigns at the end, I thought it was sort of cool, but also sort of slow. It went long, and Batista wasn't in good shape for it to go long. Well, like when the last part of a Rumble goes long, like Jericho and Sheamus in 2012 or Taker and Michaels in 2007, it's usually because there's two great workers who are basically executing their own match. You have Roman Reigns in there, who I like and I think has great potential, but I don't think is fully qualified to basically close out the second biggest pay-per-view of the year in a singles match, which is basically what this was. And you have Batista, who it's not like he's a good worker, but it's not like he's a fantastic worker on his own. And he was tired in this match, and he was out of energy. And it just dragged a lot, and the finish was very weak, in my opinion, just very flat, I thought. So it wasn't just that Daniel Bryan wasn't in the match. It was just the match was messy. The Kofi Kingston spot was cool. And there was some other all-right stuff, but the match in general was... It was okay. It was solid. It was solid. Parts I enjoyed, parts I didn't enjoy. The Orton Cena match I thought was also solid. The Big Show Brock Lesnar match I thought was alright, but it went long. And the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match was great. But I don't get why an opener being great just offsets everything else that happens in the show. I gave the show a 5.5 out of 10. Like I said, it was okay, average to below average, I would say. I would call it thumbs in the middle, tilting down, I guess I would say. I think that's what a 5.5 would mean. But it could have been better. I don't know. It could have been better. I think too many people just fell in love with the Daniel Bryan match and automatically just wrote off the rest of the show as being good. If you really didn't enjoy, I talked about this a lot with Trademark, if you really didn't enjoy the promotion's championship match and the promotion's second biggest match of the year, arguably in the Royal Rumble behind the WrestleMania main event, how can you say the show was good if you didn't enjoy those two things? But again, people can have their opinions. Some people enjoyed that match. Great for them. I personally didn't. I'm moving on. I was very disappointed by the Rumble. Dragon Gate USA. These are all very old, so I'm not going to get into these for too long. I will say the Dragon Gate USA triple shot last January, last year, 2013, January, in California, was all right. John Davis and Johnny Gargano had a great match, one of the best matches of last year that not enough people saw, in my opinion. Everything else was solid enough. Akira Tozawa and Morrison was kind of disappointing, and I didn't have high expectations going into it. It was a good match, but I thought it could have been better. Era Fox, John Davis, and Chuck Taylor threw in the first show. That was fun. I don't know. Saito and Susumu versus the Young Bucks was another very good match. On the last show, that show was very disappointing, I thought. I thought the only two good matches were Gargano and Kendrick and Tozawa and Fox versus the Bucks. But everything else on that show was just average for the most part. Some stuff above average, some stuff slightly below average. What can you do? Pretty subpar third night, I guess. Thumbs in the middle, tilting down again for that night. Then the Evolve 19 title tournament. This was a bad show, just like flat out. This show was just bad. Chuck Taylor versus Sami Callihan may have been the worst match I've ever seen from either of the two guys. Just a terribly booked match. And the John Davis AR Fox match I thought had a terrible finish. I thought this whole tournament on general did just a very bad job of building up AR Fox as the Evolve champion, and that's not something you want. So even though there's some 3-star matches on here, I still have to give the show a very bad rating, because I just think it did a very bad job in building up AR Fox, which was the point of the show. So I can't give it a good rating for that. The WrestleMania weekend shows, I've already talked about these shows a bit. The Open the Ultimate Gate show is fucking awesome. That's my favorite live show of all time to this day. And the Mercury Rising show was alright, solid. Thumbs in the middle, point tilting up, I guess. The 6-man tag match was a lot better than I thought it was live. The Akira Tozawa Shingo match was a lot worse than I thought it was live. So, yeah, nothing much really more to say here. On Evolve 19, Kendrick and Gargano versus Drew Gulak and Orange Cassidy. That may have been my favorite match of the show. I've seen a lot of people not give this match that much credit. I don't know why. I really dug it. Maybe it's because I'm just a huge Drew Gulak fan. Huge fan. And I'm a huge fan of Gargano and Kendrick. Kendrick, I'm an okay fan. Orange Cassidy I like. But I really dug that match. So yeah, that's Dragon Gate. A lot of mediocre shows. A lot of mediocre shows in hindsight, actually. But one really good show in Revolt, and one fucking awesome show in Open the Ultimate Gate. So there's that. All right, Beyond Wrestling. Let me get to these guys now. Like I said, these guys had a very fresh show. It was a fresh product, fresh characters. I really dug it. The opener was Davey, Vega, Bucks Belmar, Matt Cage, and Danny Cannon. This match was crazy. It was so much fun. Danny Cannon did some of the most incredible spots I've seen live. Honestly, I'm going to post a link to this match once it's available. I think this match is going to be on Beyond's YouTube channel. Everything else is on the DVD, but that match is going to be on their YouTube channel, and I'm definitely going to link that match as soon as I find it. That match was so entertaining. So entertaining. A super fun four-way. Just really, really great stuff from all four guys. All four guys are going to... Matt Cage, Danny Cannon, and Davey Vega, and Bucks Belmar. They're going to be more well-known in the indies soon, so start paying attention to them now, because they're all very talented. Kimber versus Chuck Taylor was solid. Chuck Taylor was hilarious live. He kept mouthing a bunch of misogynistic comments throughout the entire match, and it was just really, really funny. The match was solid, though. I enjoyed it for the most part. Then we had the Feeding Frenzy match. This match was a four-team tag match. I think it was 8-on-8, and the match didn't end. And once, if someone got pinned, that person and their partner was eliminated. So it just goes like that until one team is left standing. And this match was fun. It went a little long, not as long as I thought it would. I thought the match would go for like 45 minutes, but it was fun in general. They did some crazy shit. I've never been more afraid for my life than I was in this match. If you get the DVD, you'll see me, because I think I'm on the hard cam side. If you get the DVD, you'll see me just like running for my life as these guys are doing dives all over the place. Oh yeah, the show had no chairs. The venue for this show was fantastic. There were no chairs. There was a stage, a VIP stage setting where you could sit, but most fans were standing around the ring or standing on the balcony on the second floor of the venue. The venue was just really nice. I don't really know how I would describe it. I would describe it, I guess, the best thing that comes to mind is a nicer Orpheum in Ybor City, Florida, in that there's a stage, there's a second floor, but the floor setting for this venue was a lot bigger. There were a lot of people at the show. I heard they sold out, and it looked like it. Like, there were a lot of people at the show. But yeah, during the Feeding Frenzy, I was just running away, making sure I wasn't going to die. But the match was a lot of fun. I thought, at least, Darius Carter, I remember his name. I had never seen him before, and he's one of the examples of a character that I just really connected with, even though I'd never seen him wrestle or never even heard of him before. But he was very impressive, I thought. Aaron Epic I've heard of, and he was really good. The Devastation Corporation was in this match. They were good. They did their usual stuff. But it was on balance, really entertaining for the most part. Then the next match was probably the match of the night, AR Fox versus Shynron. Shynron did a Chikara show, like the second to last Chikara show, I think, in Georgia. He did a match against Chuck Taylor, which was really entertaining. But he fought AR Fox here. This match was really fucking good. AR Fox, like, it's just incredible. This guy, it doesn't matter if this guy's in front of 10 people or 1,000 people or 100 people, he will just kill himself. Like, he did so many things in this match that I would just never expect a well-known indie wrestler to do with a lesser audience. Like, he just killed himself, and so did Shynron. They both just killed each other for the fans, and I just really appreciated the work. I really appreciate the effort put in by both men. The crowd was really into it. They had a lot of false finishes, and they were all very, very good. This connected really well with the crowd. This was a really, really good match. Probably the best match on the show, I would say. Just super entertaining. It was given a lot of time. The crowd was really into both guys. They did some crazy shit. It was a lot of fun. Next, we got Anthony Stone versus Mike Quest. This was okay. This didn't go too long. This was solid. I like Anthony Stone a lot. I think he's very underrated in the ring. But yeah, I don't really have much to say here. This was more to build up a match for the next Beyond show, which I believe is Mike Quest and his partner, who I do not remember, versus Anthony Stone and Matt Tremont. So that should be fun. And then, sorry about that. Next we had Juicy Product, JT Dunn and David Starr versus the Hooligans. This match was very entertaining. This match was very good as well. This was good as well. JT Dunn I really like. I'm really high on him. He did a Chikara along with Anthony Stone. He did a Young Lions Cup match, and he was just really good in that match. He worked really hard in that match, and I've always been a fan of him since then. The Hooligans are two fat guys who do flips, and they are so entertaining. Fat guys doing flips. It was awesome. There was actually a chant for fat guy flips in the crowd, and it was just really, really funny to hear. The match was just so much fun, I thought. I really enjoyed it. Then we had intermission. Then we had Chris Dickinson and Jaka versus Michael Elgin and Tommaso Ciampa. This was really good. Obviously, Elgin and Ciampa are really good. Jaka is also very good for those who do not know him, and Chris Dickinson's pretty good as well. I haven't seen much of him, but he was good in this match, and Jaka is always good, and Elgin and Ciampa are great. This match was super entertaining. They were given a lot of time. They did a lot of false finishes. They had a lot of stiff spots. The crowd really bought into this. They were really into Elgin and Ciampa. Jaka and Dickinson really got over his heels. And it was just a really, really good match. The crowd really bought into everything these guys did. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This was also one of the better matches on the show. Then after the match, Jimmy Jacobs made his Beyond debut, attacked Michael Elgin, and said that he, Dickinson, and Jaka did not like people coming into their companies and taking their spots. Dickinson and Jaka, obviously, more so Chris Dickinson, being in Beyond since its inception, or close to it, and he's not happy that these ROH guys are coming in to take the spots, and Jimmy Jacobs wasn't happy that new guys like Elgin and Ciampa were taking his spot in ROH. That's the story. So they're building a feud off of that. That was really good. Next, we got the CCW World Tag Team title match. The Beaver Boys, John Silver and Alex Reynolds versus Team Tremendous, Dan Barry and Bill Carr. Team Tremendous, I think, impressed me more than any other person on this show. Dan Barry and Bill Carr have this like 80s cop gimmick where they come out like in Hawaiian shirts and sunglasses and long pants, and they act like cops. Dan Barry, I believe, used to be a trainer for Mikey Whipwreck's wrestling school. Bill Carr was signed by the WWE. He was Bobby Dutch in FCW, and he got released. Bill Carr is huge, and he wrestles like a big man, and he wrestles fantastically like a big man. Both these guys were they're hilarious in the ring. Hilarious. So funny, and they wrestle really well as a team, and it's a big man, little guy dynamic. Dan Barry's not like little, but he's much smaller compared to Bill Carr, and they were just so entertaining. This was my second favorite match on the show. And also very much possibly the second best match of the show. Just a really, really good match. Silver's really good, and Alex Reynolds has improved of late. So Dan Barry and Bill Carr really impressed the hell out of me. I was really happy with them in this match. After, more so than any other person on the show, after I saw them, I was like, I want to see those two guys again. So that was really good. And then Johnny Cockstrong and Sexy Eddie versus the Wingmen. Cockstrong and Sexy Eddie, their gimmicks is that they both have big dicks, and they were going to have a match between them two, and then the Wingmen came out saying like, oh, this is bullshit, let's fight. And they had a tag match. This match was fucking hilarious. I was laughing the entire time. The people I was with was laughing the entire time throughout this match. Like, this was just so fucking funny. Everyone needs to see the show just for this match, as opposed to all the other really good wrestling that's on here. This match was hilarious. I just could not stop laughing throughout it. Very good stuff. And then Kevin Steen and Drew Gulak. This match was good. I've seen both guys have better, but this was definitely a good match. They didn't go too long, but the crowd was into everything they did. The crowd was really into Kevin Steen. Drew Gulak's gimmick is over and beyond, and he was this mat technician, grappler, submission artist, he does that's the gimmick he portrayed in the wrestling world, and even in the CCW world, even though in the CCW world he's viewed as a heel because of it. But he and Steen had a fun, good match. It was very, very entertaining. Maybe not as good as the two tag matches in the Air Fox Shynron match, but still a good match. I still enjoyed it tremendously. I'm a big Drew Gulak fan, big Kevin Steen fan, big fan of both these guys. I talked to both these guys before the show. I bought their shirts. I bought Kevin Steen's DVD, The Kevin Steen Show with Jimmy Jacobs and Truth Martini. That shit is fucking hilarious so far. But I'm just naturally big fans of both these guys, so I was going to be entertained by pretty much anything they did. But this was good. So yeah, the whole show was great live. If you look at my description, it has a little bit of everything. There's really good matches. There's comedy. There's great characters. There's some great spots. There's some just very interesting storylines. It had a little bit of everything. And that's what I really look for when I go to a live wrestling show. So I'm a big fan of Beyond now. I will be probably going to the shows they do in Providence for the next few months, as long as I'm in town, obviously. And I think you all really should check them out. They really are worth your time. They're worth your money. They're worth your attention. All these guys work so hard. That's what I noticed. I was watching the show with TJ Hawk 411. He writes for 411 Mania. He's on Twitter. And we were both saying just how, I don't know of a promotion where people just, kill themselves for the fans as much as beyond. Like, they just, every match, guys do, like, incredibly dumb spots that would kill them and make their nights miserable, but they do it just to entertain us, and that's why they're worthy of your time and attention. Don't check out the Royal Rumble. Don't check out a lot of those Dragon Gate USA shows, except Open the Ultimate Gate from last year, but check out Beyond. They deserve it. Big RC10, I'm out, guys. Bye.